A man fell in love with a 3-year-old pit bull named Merrill when he went into San Francisco's Rocket Dog Rescue in search of a dog to adopt, but the shelter ran into an unexpected problem. When it was time for the man to come and pick her up, Merrill would not leave her best friend behind. In 2014, Rocket Dog Rescue received a sick pit bull and a senior chihuahua who were adamant about staying together. The volunteer-based shelter is dedicated to saving unwanted and abused dogs, and they regularly took in dogs that had a hard time getting adopted. Their ultimate goal is to prevent dogs from being euthanized. Merrill and Taco, an 8-year-old chihuahua, were surrendered and went to Rocket Dog Rescue together. Although little was known about their previous owners, one thing was clear: the pair of dogs were the best of friends. Every time they were separated, they would cry. All of their time was spent together. Then, one day, the shelter staff got an insight as to just how strong their bond was. Merrill was suffering from a severe uterine tract infection when the pair was surrendered, and she had to undergo surgery to save her life. Taco was restless and distraught for the entire time she was in the operating room. When the surgery was over and Merrill was finally released, staff had an extremely hard time isolating her. But she needed to be isolated so that she could heal faster. The staff was amazed by the commitment these two dogs had to each other. Both Merrill and Taco had cried until Taco was allowed to be brought into the recovery area with Merrill. Taco was attentive and dedicated to Merrill for the duration of her stay in recovery. After that, the little chihuahua didn't leave his best friend's side. But the staff members at the shelter were concerned that this might be ultimately detrimental to the two dogs. The shelter knew that bonded pairs of dogs are more difficult to adopt out from past experience. Many people aren't ready to adopt two dogs at the same time. So they decided to list Merrill and Taco separately on their website and hope to find separate homes for each of them. Senior dogs are also harder to find homes for, so there was little interest in Taco. Merrill, on the other hand, was a different story. As soon as a man came into the shelter one day looking to adopt a dog, he saw Merrill and decided that she was the one. He completed all the Rocket Dog Rescue paperwork, and then the day finally came for him to pick her up. Merrill was led out of her cage, and Taco was left inside. She began howling, and she would not stop. The man had no idea what was really going on. The staff at the shelter then told the man the story of Taco and Merrill, and how they were best friends and could not be separated. The man then understood, and he realized that it was best for them to stay together. Unfortunately, he could not adopt both Merrill and Taco, so he decided to adopt a different dog instead. That was when the shelter knew they had to change their strategy. Rocket Dog Rescue staff had come to the conclusion that it was best for Merrill and Taco to stay together. So, they changed the listing on their website, and a wonderful volunteer named Jody fostered them while the pair waited for a forever home. It wasn't long before the perfect opportunity came along and knocked at the door. A family from San Jose fell in love with Merrill and Taco's story when they saw the listing on the shelter's website. They arranged a visit with Jody to meet the two dogs, and then decided that they wanted to make them a part of their family. When it came time for Taco and Merrill to go to their new home, they were thrilled to be going together. But it was not a happy ending, yet. Taco suffered from asthma and dental disease, as most senior dogs do, and he had only 4 teeth. These health issues appeared at first to be minor problems until his new family took him to the vet a month after he and Merrill were adopted. Then the family got the news, and the outlook did not look good. Unless something was done soon, Taco would suffer impending heart failure. The medical evaluation had found that Taco's heart was enlarged and there was fluid surrounding his lungs. A specialist visit was scheduled, and he was immediately put on medication. The family braced for the worst, but tried to hope for the best. Despite being on medication, Taco's owners knew that his advanced age meant he might not recover. The family gave him a fighting chance anyway, and gave him lots of love and attention. Merrill also rallied to Taco's side, and didn't leave her best friend for a minute. Then, incredibly, Taco's condition seemed to begin to improve. Taco's condition has since stabilized and his heart is no longer at risk. He has to take several medications for life, including anti-seizure drugs and steroids for his lungs. He still has respiratory issues, but that doesn't seem to stop the little chihuahua from having fun with his human siblings, and his best friend Merrill. Merrill loves running and rolling on the grass in the family's yard. Being a young adult means that she is extremely energetic and active. Taco finds other ways to join in on the fun, even though he can't quite keep up with her. Taco carried to wherever Merrill is playing by the family's children. Most of all, he and Merrill love spending every single day and night together and knowing that they will never be separated again. If you enjoyed this story, wait for our next story starting in 10 seconds. She had been in labor almost all day. It was her first litter of puppies, so the vet and her owners thought this would be a quick birth. But as the hours went by, they started to realize this was not a normal birth at all. Nobody knew what the outcome would be, with the threat of complications looming over them the whole time. And by the time it was all over with, everyone was left speechless. But Miley's pregnancy had not been nearly as unexpected as her delivery would turn out to be. In fact, everything was meticulously planned. She belongs to Cecilia Langton Bunker, a 43-year-old breeder in Ballarat, Australia. Her company, CC Dalmatians, has been breeding, training, and showing Dalmatians for 24 years. So, when the time came to breed 3-year-old Miley, a rigorous protocol was followed. But they would soon find out that nature follows no protocol. Miley was paired up with a male called Astro, whose pedigree name is Astro Wonderboy. A prized show dog, Astro has been winning competitions every year since 2013. But he is also smart, affectionate and intuitive. He and Miley hit it off right away, which was wonderful news for their breeder. Soon, Miley was pregnant and everything was going according to plan. But neither dogs nor humans had any clue what they were really in for. Miley's belly started growing very fast, and Cecilia took notice. She took Miley to the vet, who told her it would be a litter of 3. This would be normal for a first-time mother, although Dalmatian litters can run up to 8 or even 10 puppies. But a large litter can also bring health complications with it. And as Miley's belly continued to grow, so did everyone's concern. Miley, whose pedigree name is Sarasota from Russia with Love, had been an exceptional show dog before being selected for breeding. She was still young, so she could theoretically go back to competing after she finished nursing her puppies. But show standards are very strict. If she had pregnancy complications or delivered a large litter, her body would likely change too much to be fit for competitions. Of course, that wasn't bothering the mother to be. In the blink of an eye, she was ready to give birth. It was 7 a.m. on May 18, 2017. Cecilia was awakened by strange sounds, which she soon realized were coming from Miley. To an outsider, the dog's behavior would seem completely bizarre. But, being an experienced breeder, Cecilia knew what was happening. Miley was in labor. Calmly, she called the vet and began preparing everything that would be needed for the birth. But nothing could have prepared her for what she was about to witness. Cecilia and the midwife were busy getting the birthing area ready while Miley was still having mild contractions. They padded her bed with blankets, made sure the room was warm enough, and even though Miley didn't have much of an appetite, they stocked up on her favorite treats. Having done this many times before, they were pretty confident and thought they knew what was coming next. But Miley was about to surprise everyone, including herself. Hours passed, and still no sign of the puppies. By then, the vet had arrived, and he frequently checked up on Miley to make sure she wasn't in distress. It was important to stay on top of any complications that may arise. If she was found to be unable to deliver the puppies by herself, there was always the option of a C-section. But this wasn't ideal for her or the puppies, so everyone waited patiently. Finally, by late afternoon, the first puppy crowned. After the first puppy was born, everyone thought the rest would come out quickly. But they found themselves waiting long periods of time in between each pup. But at least they were coming, and they seemed to be in good health. 3 puppies came out, then 4, then 5, then 6. By the 10th puppy, everyone in the room knew something very special was happening. But it would be a few more hours before they truly realized the importance of this occasion. It was 8:30 p.m. by the time Miley finished giving birth, more than 13 hours after she started labor. But that was not the most impressive thing about this day. Miley had delivered a whopping 18 puppies. Now the room was full of tiny, white, blind creatures shuffling around looking for mom. In total, there were 12 females and 6 males. Everyone was in shock that Miley had managed such a feat. Not least of all, the puppy's baby daddy. After the birth, Astro was led into the room to bond with his newborn puppies. But he clearly wasn't expecting this much offspring. He was said to be a bit disconcerted by the 18 puppies running around. He's like, "Are these all mine?" according to Cecilia. Meanwhile, the breeder herself was just happy all the puppies seemed to be in good health. But soon it dawned on her how much help she was going to need to look after them. Cecilia hired 7 veterinary nurses to take care of the puppies while they nursed, making sure that Miley wasn't overwhelmed by having to feed so many mouths. But, like the champ she was, she took it all in stride and diligently fed them every 4 hours. They have been a really healthy, happy, thriving litter from the time they were born, which is largely because of their mum's dedication and perseverance, said Cecilia. Soon the time came to look for potential owners. 2 months after being born, the 18 puppies were ready to be taken to their new families. Cecilia even started feeling a little nostalgic. I expect to get an empty nest feeling when they all start going to their new homes on July 22nd because this is a very special litter, she said. Indeed, this litter was special. They had broken the Australian record of most Dalmatians in a litter and matched the current world record holder. But not all the puppies were about to leave the nest. Cecilia decided to keep one of the puppies, a female whom she named Paris. Described as outgoing, smart and highly spirited, Paris soon began training for her first show. And, just like her mother and father, she proved to be a natural champion. She won Best Puppy of Breed and Best Puppy in Ring at the Royal Melbourne Championship Show 2017. Months later, she would get to reunite with many of her siblings. In February 2018, Cecilia organized a puppy party to reunite the members of this very special litter. 10 of the 18 dogs were in attendance, along with their owners and their families. The puppies and their parents got to run and frolic along the field, followed by a refreshing swim in the pool. Cecilia felt proud of how well these pups are growing and thanked their owners for keeping them happy and healthy.